Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Magic Puzzle Quest video. This is going to be an exclusive look at Anje Falkenrath and her bundle. So, Anje Falkenrath is a new exclusive that's going to be entering the Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest game. And this bundle is amazing. Like, in all of my time creating content for this game, this is by far the most fun bundle that I have played with. It is so strong. Like, it is so strong. It's unbelievable. So, Anje Falkenrath is a 3/5 for 10. She's got haste. She's got madness 3. So, when you discard another card from your hand, this card gains 3 mana. It's also immune to discard effects. And then she has, when this creature attacks, you may discard the last card in from your hand. If you do, draw a card, and your opponent loses 4 life. And then the bread and butter of this card and the whole bundle is when you discard a card from your hand, if you have a card with madness in your hand, reinforce this creature. Now, in standard, the 4 cards in this bundle are the only cards that have madness. So you actually have to have the cards in the bundle in order to be able to effectively use this card. Now, I mean, I suppose you could make a deck out of just Anje and be fine if you pull Anje down the road, but you definitely want to have at least a few of the other cards in this bundle, which I'm about to go over. Now, one of the amazing things about Anje is that there are just so many different effects in the game right now, standard and legacy, that make you discard your hand and draw a new hand. For that matter, you can do that so many times in a turn that you can get Anje to like 30, 40, 50 reinforcements like nothing. Like, seriously, like nothing. I've never seen a creature reinforce as quickly as this thing does. So it's pretty strong. So not only do you get Anje with this very solid ability, and you might be looking at it and be going, dude, Nalthazar, this thing's a 3/5. Like, how is that strong, right? Well, if you think about it, right, if let's say that you're wheeling your hand, wheeling is the magic term for discarding and then redrawing. So let's go ahead and say that you're wheeling your hand 2 times a turn, right? Or even like 3 times a turn. If you're wheeling your hand 2 to 3 times a turn, then that's going to be, because you do have to have a card with madness in your hand, that's going to be up to 15 cards a turn, or 15 reinforcements for Anje. And 15 reinforcements for Anje is 45 power. So that's a heck of a lot of power just to be getting from one card, and to get all the other different card advantage things that you're going to be getting as a result of having a deck built around something like this. Now, Anje very conveniently comes with Anje's Ravager. Anje's Ravager is an amazing card to pair with this, and you're going to want to pair it with it anyway. So, like, if you get the bundle, even if you already have a whole bunch of other stuff, you're definitely going to want to have this card in your deck, because it's 13 mana for a 5/5. It's got Berserker, which is actually kind of the only disadvantage to this card. It has Bravery, which means that when it attacks, it's going to take the first slot in your creature position. It's got Madness 2, which is important because that means it's another Madness card that you could have in your hand for the discard effects. And then when this creature attacks, discard all cards without mana from your hand and draw 3 cards. So this is going to be one of those like little pseudo wheel effects where it's going to just discard what you have and draw more cards. And there are just, once again, so many things that do this that you're going to be reinforcing Anje like mad. It's crazy. The next card in the bundle is Archfiend of Spite. It's got Madness 4. It costs 25 mana, but that 25 mana becomes a heck of a lot less when you're gaining 4 mana for every other card you discard. It's got Enrage. Your opponent loses X creature reinforcements, and if they can't, they lose X life, where X is the damage dealt this way. Enrage is kind of that dinosaur mechanic, where whenever this creature takes damage, it triggers the effect. But yeah, I haven't found too many uses for the Enrage portion of this card, especially since it doesn't have like Berserker or something like that. I did get some use out of this card in trying this bundle out with a Pauper deck. So when I say Pauper, I mean I took all the cards in this bundle, and then I made a deck that, apart from the cards in this bundle, only used little Pauper things that I put together. And this wound up being actually quite strong. I made it in a Liliana 1 deck, right? So I tried to see like how would this bundle play in the hands of a brand new player, right? And the Archfiend of Spite wound up being surprisingly playable, especially when you're just spamming Liliana's first ability to constantly discard things. The mana cost of this becomes surprisingly reasonable. And then the final card, Curse of Fool's Wisdom, is a 13 mana support. It's got Madness also. It is a support with Resilient, so when a player matches it, gains a shield instead of losing a shield, and then the support's gem changes its color. Now, when your opponent draws a card, your opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And yoink. When your opponent activates a loyalty ability, your opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. So this is a natural friend to Ob Nixilis. But even if you're not running this in Ob Nixilis, like even if you run it in that Liliana deck that I was talking about, I mean, this card puts in so much work. I mean, your opponent's going to be drawing a card every turn, so you're just going to be slowly whittling them down. If your opponent has like a relatively decent collection, then they're probably going to be drawing a lot of cards because there are just so many ways to draw cards in Puzzle Quest that you're going to be whittling your opponents to health down, and you're going to be gaining life out of it, which is really nice in black. So there are so many things that you can run with these cards. Like, seriously, there are so many things you can run with these cards. But some of the things that really stand out to me, if you have them, the first one is Volrath. So Volrath, I put Volrath on an Anje, and I was out for a stroll. It was my first match. You're gonna see it, and I just started giggling. Like, honestly, I started giggling. People stopped and stared at me because when Anje is reinforcing as a 7/5 and then just getting like random evergreens, it's disgusting. It's honestly disgusting. It's so strong. Now I know I just jumped straight to a masterpiece, but if you look at like all the different things that are like discard and draw, right? So there are so many things in this that make you discard your hand and draw, right? Discard your hand, draw 6. Dragon Mage, when it deals combat damage, each player discards all cards without mana, draws that many cards. Book Devourer, when this creature deals combat damage to a planeswalker, discard your hand, draw that many cards. Neheb, when this creature deals combat damage to your opponent's planeswalker, discard your hand, then draw that many cards. I mean, like, seriously, there are so many things that make you discard your hand and draw cards right now in Puzzle Quest, and this is just current standard. Like, Ox of Agonis is going to do that, right? Like, I mean, there are so many things that do it. It's kind of wacky, right? So this is perfect for this is absolutely perfect for Anje. Anje's in a perfect meta right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and show off some gameplay instead of just me talking. But guys, I'm really excited about this exclusive. So this here is my first match with Anje. And conveniently, we've got both the Ravager and Anje in our hand. Just really quickly wanted to check the Ravager to make sure that it did exactly what I wanted it to do. Now, you're going to see that this gets very out of hand very quickly. And this was only my first test with the thing. I wound up testing it a lot more after this, and it's wacky, guys. It's so wacky. So, all right, so step 1, you're going to want to get the Ravager down, because the Ravager makes it so that when it attacks, you discard cards. And so that's going to be the introductory engine for Anje. Now, there are just so many different wheel effects and so many different discard effects that it's really not hard to do that. And because there's so many things that are discard and draw, it makes it really easy to draw into another Madness card. Now, the bundle comes with the 4 Madness cards, right? So you can run all of them in a deck, but I actually found that it was best to run 2, maybe 3 of the Madness cards at a time, just to make sure that you have some cards in your hand that you can discard. If you have too many cards with Madness, then you're not going to actually be able to discard all of them. Now, Song of Creation is going to do terrible, terrible things with this mechanic. Like, truly terrible things with this mechanic. Because Song of Creation makes you discard all cards in your hand but 1 at the end of your turn. You'll see that I'm actually playing with the new Teferi Vanguard also. I figured, you know what, I might as well give that a shot. I might as well see what I think of the thing. And I definitely have a very high opinion of it now that I've played it with Anje. So, unfortunately, we did lose the Ravager to Berserker. That will happen, but that's okay. Honestly, we're gonna want to get Song of Creation down for sure. Song of Creation means that the whole deck really gets started. And then once this deck gets started, that's it. Now, you may be wondering, okay, well, dude, this deck is like all mythics and stuff. Like, I don't have all mythics and stuff. But you really, like I said, you really don't need them at all. Like, they definitely make this stronger. But the really cool thing about this is that she's going to be incredibly powerful regardless of what your collection looks like. So the bundle itself comes with all the pieces needed to make it strong. And then as you get more cards, you can just make it stronger and stronger and stronger. So here we're going to go ahead. We're going to play our first Angie down, and then we're going to play our Song of Creation. And we're just going to see what happens here. So let's go ahead and Scorpion Sting that nasty Eldrazi guy. We don't want to have an 11-3 on the battlefield. So this is going to be Angie number 1. You'll see that I have another Angie in my hand that is disabled. And that's just because you want to keep one in your hand and disabled so it doesn't actually cast. Now, unfortunately, you'll see that I did draw Volrath here. That means that I won't have a Volrath that I can go ahead and mutate onto Angie. Mutating Volrath onto Angie, if you get Volrath, or if you have Volrath, you absolutely have to get this bundle. Like, Volrath on Angie is one of the most disgusting things I've seen lately. Like, it, oh my gosh, is it nasty. So here's Volrath, which is great. So this is going really, really well. We drew into Volrath. We've got Song of Creation, which is going to make it so that we can play things pretty easily. I'm going to go ahead and undisable the Angie in my hand just because I've got a Ravager in my hand, so I can just swap them around. And this ideally lets me go ahead and mutate Angie. So this is where I start giggling in real life. I was actually walking down the street and I just started giggling when this happened because I mutate Angie, and Angie boosts to that 91 power, and then the random evergreen that she gets is lifelink. So, and then I draw a Serum Powder. This makes me discard everything again. Angie's just buffing up so much at this point because she just gets so strong. Like, even if you don't have the Volrath, like, Volrath, it's fine. Like, honestly, this thing gets, oh my gosh, it gets so big so fast. Like, you've got so many reinforcements on this thing. Look at this. I'm already at 22 reinforcements. Now, it is important that you do leave a Madness card in your hand. You absolutely want to make sure that you do that. That's going to enable you to do like a whole bunch of extra horrible shenanigan things to your opponent that ideally for them never happens to anyone. But there's no way that our opponent's going to be able to survive this onslaught this turn. So I'm going to go ahead and discard the extra Ravager. I don't need to have a whole bunch of Ravagers in my hand. No, the game is telling me that I can't, so I will accept the signs. I will accept my fate and hopefully get my Ox down. So I definitely get the Ox down, which is good. So we get the Ox down, and that's good because even though we win, we want to make Angie as big as possible. So that means that we get to go ahead and do it again. Angie's already at over 200 power, and yeah, that's the end of this guy. That's the end of this match. It's just too strong, guys. It's just too strong. My final thought on this bundle, I really don't think is going to come as a surprise to anyone, but I feel like if you're willing to put money into the game, then you definitely should get this bundle. I mean, yeah, it's just so good. So it's definitely a meta bundle. All the cards are playable. The Angie, the Ravager, and the Curse of Fool's Wisdom are my favorite, but the Archfiend is still pretty good for new players. Part of what really stands out to me from this bundle, and part of why I'm saying that I think you should get it, is because even if you're a newer player and you don't have as many cards in your collection, this bundle is still really strong. It comes with all the different cards that you would need in order to make it strong. And if you have a really big collection, kind of like how I do, then you can completely break this thing. Like, it goes beyond just being like, oh, this is really strong. Like, this thing is like crazy strong, guys. Once again, especially with Volrath. Like, I mean, even if you don't have Volrath, you're fine. You're still going to get this thing to enough power to be able to kill an opposing Planeswalker. I haven't even been able to test this against other planeswalkers yet. I've only been allowed to test it in story mode and PvE, and I'm just one-shotting, like two-shotting like every boss. Like you just get Angie so big so fast. So at the very least, if you're watching this and you're like, I don't know, like it's fun. Like at the very least, when it comes down to it, you play this and it's fun. It's a really fun play style. This is exactly what Madness should be in Puzzle Quest. Uh, I, I love this thing. So those are my 2 cents on it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.